Hey everyone, in this video we'll tell you about our trip to Lausanne and Lake Geneva in Switzerland. There are many bank holidays in France in May, so it was the perfect time to hop on a little adventure. We wanted to visit Lausanne and Lake Geneva for years actually, but we always postponed the trip. It's often the places closest by that take the longest to visit. But this year we decided we will do it. Especially that one of Tina's childhood friend, Andrea, was there and she wasn't sure she would be staying. So, early 2023, we booked an Airbnb in Lausanne for mid-May and we were all set. Lausanne is located 336 km away, so by car that would take between 4 to 5 hours, depending the traffic. Our plan was to arrive there in the afternoon, around check-in time. This would allow us to drop our bag and still have time to walk a bit around the city. And so we hop on our car by the end of the morning and started driving towards Lausanne. We made a first stop in a gas station for a lunch break. We chose this station not only for the timing, but also because you can see storks there. We then continued towards Switzerland, past the border. The road was great, crossing the border was easy, but as usual, there were a lot of traffic jam in Switzerland. As you may know, prices in Switzerland are really high. We are living in France and even for us, Switzerland is like insane when it comes to cost. That's why we were lucky to have found Pierre's apartment. It was the best deal ever. Not only cost-wise, it was, let's say, affordable for Switzerland, but the apartment was amazing. It was a really spacious 2-room apartment with everything we would need for our trip. As a garage, which was a must for us, the kitchen was well equipped, it had a comfortable bedroom and the living room was enormous. In addition, it also had a garden with a table and stunning view over Lausanne, and the final bonus was Ukwa, the cat. We were a bit worried with the cat when we learned that Tina was pregnant, but in the end it was fine and Ukwa wasn't minding us and didn't require much attention apart of some food. Once settled, we went for a little stroll around the old center of Lausanne. We stayed next to Palais de Rumines and Place de la Riponne, so we started there. We then continued toward the cathedral, stopped at a viewpoint along the way and finally made it there. The cathedral was nice to visit and had such an incredible view of Lausanne. After that, we went downhill toward the Place de la Palude. The old town of Lausanne is on hill, so it goes up and down. Along the small street, we stopped in a stunning street with covered stairs and found a bakery where we got bread. We loved that place. We kept on to the Place de la Palude, where an old clock provided us with an unexpected but great time. From there, we just kept on strolling the old town, discovering street after street. and after a while decided to head toward the Esplanade de Montbenon. There we discovered a really nice square where the Palace of Justice is located, but the best part was the huge garden in front of it and the view of Lake Geneva over the city. We then went to Esplanade du Flon, where we met Andrea, Tina's friend. After walking a bit around this area, which is quite modern, filled with bar, restaurant and a cinema, we grabbed a quick dinner in one of the restaurants that Andrea knew and liked. Later, we all walked down to Lake Geneva, which isn't that far at all, and after a while along the lake, decided to go for a last drink in a bar. It had been years since Tina and Andrea didn't meet in person, and so the evening passed super fast. As it was starting to be late, we said goodbye to Andrea, took a metro and headed back to our Airbnb, where we ended the night with ukwa. After waking up, saying good morning to Ukwa, we prepared and ate breakfast. As the weather was great today, we ended up on the terrace with a coffee and some delicious cookies. Before leaving for a full day in Lausanne, we played a bit hide and seek with Ukwa. Our first stop of the day will be Lake Geneva, where we plan on walking around, stop at the Pyramide de Vevey and finish in the Louis Bourget Park. To reach the lake, we opted to take a metro, and on our way there, we saw a local flea market where we make a quick stop to see what was happening. We then got 2 tickets and hopped on the metro to Lake Geneva. Once arrived, we started walking toward the lake and first found the Luna Park, a little amusement park that was closed as it was still early morning. And right behind it, a swimming pool. That looked amazing and would be perfect for a family with kids. As we continued along the lake, we passed a small port where we saw a swan family. The cygnets were so cute. And finally, we made it to the Vidi pyramids, that were made actually in '64 for the National Exposition that took place in Lausanne. The rest of the morning was just along the lake with more swans, a beach, a forest and a park. Nothing better than a slow and peaceful morning with nature. One thing that we were impressed with was how good is the infrastructure along the lake. There were toilets and water points everywhere. Once at the end of the park, we took a bus and then the metro back to our accommodation, where we cooked and had lunch. We then met with Andrea and planned on having dinner in our Airbnb. So we started by doing some groceries and then walked to the train station to pick up another friend. As we were a bit early, we took the time to a bit visit the train station and an amazing vegan restaurant in it. Later on and all together, we visited the Botanical Garden of Lausanne and the viewpoint located next to it. And as the weather became frightening and rain started, we headed back to our place to have dinner and end the night. For our second full day in Lausanne, we also started the morning with a good breakfast and a cup of coffee with the views of the town. We then hopped on the car and drove toward the magnificent Lavaux Vineyard Terraces. As we didn't know where to go exactly, we made a few stops along the way, and in the end realized that the best thing to do is just drive within them, and stop at all the viewpoints along the road to sip in the views and walk a bit in the vineyard. The road was really enjoyable to drive on. We passed a few villages that were as stunning as the terraces. Of the terraces, we arrived to one of the main towns in this region, Vevey. Street parking wasn't easy to find, so we parked in the underground parking of a shopping mall, and then went on foot to explore Vevey. We walked toward the main square, and when we arrived there we discovered a flea market. That was unexpected but so cool. There, people were selling all kinds of fruits and vegetables, as well as common flea market stuff, like antiques, soap, clothes and so on. There also was a section with food, and it was international food. There were many stalls selling traditional food from all around the world. We opted for Peruvian food, as it has been a while we didn't eat empanadas. But we forgot that euros are not always accepted in Switzerland, and had to find an ATM first. We then found a spot where to eat our lunch before continuing exploring the town. The shore of the lake was amazing and the promenade along it so great. Fun thing was the fork in the lake. To walk back toward the car, we used the small street of the town. We also stopped in an American store, which we found fun and didn't believe would be there. Once back in the market square, we got some momos and cakes to end our visit of Vevey. We then hopped on the car and drove to the Chillon Castle. Once the car parked, we walked to the castle, got 2 tickets and visited it. Chillon Castle is an island castle located on Lake Geneva, and is amongst the most visited medieval castles in Switzerland and Europe, and was constructed around the 12th century. There are many rooms and towers that you can visit, and if you get to the top tower, you will have a beautiful view of Lake Geneva. A cool thing is that some furniture can still be found in the room, making it easier to imagine how people were living there in the past. One thing that always troubled us in medieval castles is how small the beds were. At the end of our visit, we went by the small beach next to the castle and waited on Andrea to continue our adventure. With Andrea, our final stop was Montreux, a town located not too far from the castle. After parking the car, we got out to the marketplace and then strolled around Montreux, while chatting with Andrea and admiring the lake. We ended up in an outside restaurant for a drink and a snack, which was really great. Later on, we said our farewell to Andrea, drove back to our Airbnb, and the next morning said goodbye to Lausanne. But that wasn't the end of our adventure, as the next day we visited Gruyère, a medieval town where the cheese of the same name is coming from. So stay tuned for the next video. Thanks for watching. Support us by subscribing to our channel, leaving a comment or liking the video.